Hey everybody, it's Dr. Haugen here with Big Stone Chiropractic, and in this video I want to talk to you about text neck in kids. Electronics are used all the time now by a lot of kids. Most kids are using electronics, whether it be phones, iPads, video games, you name it. Usually it's not necessarily due to reading a book, looking down anymore. It's due to technology. So what are some things that we should be looking at in kids? Because this is happening at an alarming rate. Kids are getting neck pain, they're getting headaches. Their posture is going to be formed for life, possibly in some of these situations, if it's not corrected at a young age. So what should we be looking for? Well, the first thing, let's look at how we can identify if this is going on in your kids. One of the best ways to do this is to take your phone, your iPad, whatever you have, and just take a picture of your kid looking at them from the side. And then what you can do is draw a line, take like a red line and draw it from their ear, and then that line should go from their ear, through their shoulder, through their hip, down to their foot. And it should be a pretty straight line through all those points. If you see that line not go through those points, like this is something we'll do it in the clinic to show people. If they're, if all of a sudden you see their head way out in front and that red line doesn't hit any of their body, that's a problem. That's showing you that something is going on. So just do that once and see what you see with your kids. Because what will happen is this can actually end up staying this way, and it can be hard to get out of this posture. And later in life, it can lead to a lot of issues we know now, neck issues, disc herniations. It's just a whole entire another stressor on the body. So it can lead to dizziness. It can lead to balance issues and a whole list of other things we won't even get into today. But first, I want to show you what I mean by this. So let's take this pen right here, and if you look at it as my fingers in the middle here being the fulcrum. So let's look at this like a seesaw. So if you put weight on one end, so let's say a head weighs maybe 10 pounds. Okay, so we got 10 pounds here, and if we put it out here on the end, it's going to dip this way, right? So every inch that your head goes forward would be like adding 10 pounds on. So let's say that head is 3 inches forward out from those shoulders. That's like 30 pounds here on the front of this. And so your body is going to have to counter this somehow. Otherwise, it's just going to keep going forward, right? So the body has to have something counter it back here, okay? So you got the load of 30 pounds up here, and then you're going to have effort back here to keep this up. And the effort is actually going to be your muscles. So here you have the vertebrae, the fulcrum in the middle, your head out here, and your muscles have to balance this out. And so what starts to happen is these muscles in the back, they're constantly going to have that 30-pound load on them, and so they're going to stretch. They're going to be put under tension. And this isn't good. And what will start to happen to the muscles in the front of the neck is these are actually going to start to shorten. They're going to tighten. And if this stays like this way long enough, it can stay there. It's called viscoelastic creep. And what happens is that gets really hard to break out of. So there's stretches you can start to do. Chiropractic adjustments on those vertebrae can help with the motion to allow that head to come back. This is really important to start to look at and start to do. So if your kid is complaining of these things, please have them looked at so that this doesn't last later on into life. Sleep position becomes big. So if they've been looking down all day, if they've been doing things that's strenuous to the neck, the sleeping position is really important. Now young kids, it's hard to get them to stay in one spot, but if you can take some of these older kids and start to teach them to sleep properly in the positions, it can take a lot of strain off their neck while they're sleeping at night, and this can make a big difference while you're trying to change the muscle tissue, the vertebrae, all of those things in the neck to make it better. So if you have questions about this, please ask us. But start looking at this in your kids. Just take your phone, take a shot from the side, and see if they're developing that posture. And a lot of times you have to start to get these scalenes, these muscles on the front here, if you feel they can be tender on some people. If they get really tight, sometimes you can barely touch them and people want to jump out of the chair. And that's one of the first spots to start to look at. And then dysfunction in the spine, of those joints in the spine, you have to make sure that they're able to extend, because once they get into that forward position for a long time, it's hard for that vertebrae to then get that motion back. And so that should be looked at as well. So stretching and chiropractic adjustments goes a long ways. If you guys have more questions, let me know. Hopefully this video helps. Start looking at your kids. Make sure their posture is developing the way it should.